Hello, right. Area again, but this time it's circles. So let's just refresh what we need, what we know about circles. So we've got the center in there, and we've got a line that goes from side to side, which is called the diameter, and half of that diameter from there to the outside is called the radius, and therefore there's another radius on the left hand side. Let's do another one over there. Radius goes up to the middle and out to the edge. And 2 times the radius equals the diameter. It's twice as long, isn't it? The diameter goes all the way across. It must go through the middle though. And this bit round the outside is called the circumference. Now we're not bothered about the circumference at the moment for this area. We only need the circumference when we're finding the length of the bit all the way around the outside. So we don't really need the circumference for this. Now we're going to find the area. Now remember we had, when we were doing circumference, we used this letter pi. I don't know why that bit is there. Let's take that out. It's confusing. Yeah. And pi, and we found out where the pi button was on our calculator to be super accurate, but you can also approximately 3.14, and it was the circumference is approximately 3.14 times longer than the diameter, and it always in proportion. Now we don't need the circumference, as I said, but we still need pi, and we need another formula now to find the area of circle. Now, our old friend pi, r for the radius squared. Because remember when you were talking about a area or an area, the the notation is always something or other squared, centimeter squared, meter squared. So this is why we're multiplying two things together so that we get the squared bit at the end. Now the radius squared. Now that means the radius times the radius. Whatever the radius is, the radius times the radius. That's what the squared bit means. You might be given the diameter, you have to half it to find the radius, and then square it, and then multiply it by pi. So let's have a look at a couple of questions here, a couple of combinations that we can have. We could have a circle with a radius of 8 centimeters. So the area will be equal to pi r squared, which equals pi times 8 squared. 8 squared is 8 times 8, which is 64. So this is 3.14 times 64. Right, now 3.14 times 64 is 200.96 centimeter squared. Now, when you're doing this squared bit, see how it's 8 times 8? On your calculator, there is a button here which has got x squared in it. So if you just go, say, do the 8, then press that x squared button, it comes up with the answer 64. So you can use your calculator to do the short bit. You could, if you didn't want to bother to do that, you could just write in there 3.14 times 8 times 8, and you would come up with the same thing. So you're doing it all in one line and going straight to there rather than going through that halfway house. But I like to, as well as explanation, if I was doing an exam, I would do everything anyway because I want to show the person who's looking at my work my thought process. What did I do now? What did I do next? And why did I do that bit? Yeah. I multiplied 8 by 8 squared and I got 16. Oh, because I did 8 times 2. Yeah. So I've gone wrong, even though I've got that first bit right. And with maths, you always pick up points along the way. It's not like you've got to do it all, get the right answer. It's not all or nothing. You can get marks along the way. Yeah. So yeah, so there's a circle with a radius of 8, and it doesn't really matter what we've got here. Oh, we've got a red circle now. Yeah, a radius of 3.6 meters. Yeah, so the area is pi r squared, which is 3.14 times 3.6 squared. And in the calculator, I'm going to do 3.14 times 3.6 and press that little squared button, and that gives me an answer of 40.6944 meters squared. Now, what happens if I press the pi button? Yeah, on this r squared, which is times 3.6 squared. Now, if I use the pi button, because the pi button gives me a more accurate result with more decimals on there, it should make my answer a little bit bigger. So if I go shift pi times 3.6 and then that little x squared button, I get an answer of 40.71504079. Yeah, so you see, because I've introduced the pi button on there, I've made the answer a little bit bigger. Yeah, because that would round to, say, 40.72, and that would round to, say, 40.69. So you can see that the pi button is more accurate and your answer is always a little bit bigger. If in a question they don't put, for this question you must use this, yeah? If they don't put that, use the pi button on your calculator. Or write this. You haven't told me what pi is, so I'm going to use 3.14. Or you haven't told me what pi is, I'm just going to press the button on the calculator, yeah? So as long as you say what you're up to, then you're fine, yeah? Either of those two will do, but if they don't tell you to use 3.14, try and use the button on your calculator. And of course that's meters squared and meters squared. It was just a bit of a rounding up. Right, okay, I love that one. Now let's have another circle. These are good, I like drawing circles. Right, okay, this time the diameter equals 14.4 centimeters. Now, you know that the area is pi r squared. So I'm going to use 3.14 times r. R is half the diameter, which is 7.2 squared. Yeah. So 3.14 times 7.2 squared is 162 point, call it 7/8, a couple of decimal places, rounded to 2 decimal places. Perfect, perfect. Okay, there was one question, wasn't there, on the things here down. We did the triangle on the last lesson. Now this one, find the area of the circle below to the nearest whole number. Oh, so there's a bit of rounding there. So 35 millimeters. So the area equals pi r squared. Now I'm going to use the pi button on my calculator because they haven't told us what to use for pi. So this is going to be pi times 35 squared. So let's try that then. Shift pi times 35 squared is 3848.451, and there's even more numbers there, but I don't need them all. And to the nearest whole number, that's a 4, believe it or not, because it's less than 5. We just ignore all the decimal points here, and so we're going to get an answer of 3848 millimeters squared. So, circles. That's how to find the area of a circle. Right, worksheet on that, no doubt. And I'll see you in the next one where we're going to use combinations of, oh, it's exciting. I can't wait. Okay.